We're going to cross now to Moscow, speak to our correspondent Nick Holdsworth, who joins us from there now. Nick, we've been hearing from Gulliver there that essentially it does appear that this is not just an operation in the east of Ukraine. What do you think Vladimir Putin's aim is today?
Vladimir Putin's aim is to take back what he considers to be Russian territory that was illegitimately granted to Ukraine in the past, and the Russian-speaking peoples of Luhansk and Donetsk, like those in Crimea that was taken in 2014, deserve to come back into the fold of Mother Russia. This has clearly been his plan all along. Now, whether he has ambitions, he denies this, but whether he has ambitions beyond the extent of the borders of Luhansk and Donetsk region is hard to say. Although what is clear is that if he intends to protect, as he says it, protect the interests of those Russian people against, as he puts it, a Nazi regime in Kiev, which, as Gulliver has just pointed out, is utter nonsense, then Russian troops will be ordered to invade Ukrainian territory under the control of Kiev forces around the port of Mariupol on the Sea of Azov, so that they can connect those two eastern breakaway provinces with the Crimea, so that you will have a contiguous land mass absorbed back into Russia. Now, whether Putin intends to push it further right up to the borders of Poland, the western borders of Ukraine, a NATO member state, is another question entirely. I would add that this war is deeply, deeply unpopular with the Russian people, and this is not a war of Russia against Ukraine. This is a war of Vladimir Putin on Ukraine. I must stress that, because the Russian people are not to blame for this. The blame lies with one man, and he's sitting in the Kremlin, not very far from me as I speak now.
What about his entourage, Nick? I mean, we've heard a lot about potential cracks within his entourage, support or not support amongst those surrounding him.
Well, very interestingly, there was that meeting a couple of evenings ago. This week has been so busy, I'm not really quite sure now whether it's Monday or Tuesday evening. I think it was Tuesday evening when Putin had this kind of set-piece meeting in the Kremlin, sitting at his table, vast distance between him and his minions, his senior government ministers. And he was basically demanding declarations of loyalty from them for the recognition, formal recognition, of Luhansk and Donetsk, which everyone with any sense, any eyes to see, ears to hear, knew was the precursor to a formal incursion, effectively the declaration of war that he made in his 10-minute address to the nation in the early hours of this morning. And some of those people, some of those senior ministers and diplomats were deeply uncomfortable. The head of the Russian Foreign Service, Sergei Narushkin, was so uncomfortable. You could see it on his face. He was struggling, and Putin pushed him. He said, well, do you agree with me? You know, spit it out, man, kind of thing. And eventually Narushkin said it in words, yes, I agree. The Prime Minister, the Russian Prime Minister, also struggled to get the words out, because they know damn well that when this is all over, and this too shall pass, there could well be some kind of international tribunal. The Russians haven't forgotten Nuremberg in 1945, and they will be complicit, because what Putin was doing was ensuring that, hey, it's not just me, you've got to be on my side. And it was kind of a display of Byzantine authority, you know, you've got to say yes to what I'm doing. And that's what Putin is doing. Now, some of those around him are deeply unhappy about this. That's quite evident. I'm not going to speculate at the moment, but I think that Vladimir Putin's declaration of war effectively on Ukraine is deeply dangerous for Russia, Ukraine, Europe, the world, and actually personally dangerous for Putin himself.
Nick, thanks very much. Nick Holdsworth, our correspondent, joining us from Moscow.